All right, Alexander. So let's talk about the way that the Trudeau government has decided to take on the Freedom Convoy, and what they have done is they have decided to pick the brain of one U.S. President Joe Biden and recruit the help of the Biden administration in order to solve the Freedom Convoy. Boy, that's not going to end well. But anyway, we have the readout from the White House with regards to the conversation between Biden and Trudeau. We do know that they have cleared off the Ambassador Bridge. Police did arrest, I believe, 12 people, but the police did say that those people were very peaceful, and everything that did take place with regards to clearing out that bridge was a very peaceful process. So once again, the protesters are definitely not violent. They're definitely peaceful. They do have a very specific goals in mind, which is to end the mandates and the restrictions and all of these things. But they are doing it in a very peaceful manner, and they have a lot of support all throughout Canada. I'm convinced of this. A lot of support throughout Canada and throughout the world. It is spreading as well, Alexander, by the way. And I mean, yeah, Netherlands, Australia, France. The way Macron handled it was, gosh, he just went crazy with authoritarianism and tyranny in the way he put down the protest. But anyway, it's probably a different video, another video for another time. Another part of this thread between Biden and Trudeau, this conversation, is the fact that a Freedom Convoy is being prepared in the United States, I believe around March 3rd or March 5th to take place from Los Angeles to DC. So obviously that's got the Biden administration worried as well. So Biden speaks to Trudeau and they clear the bridge. And what's next? How did you see the readout?
Well, absolutely. I mean, the readout is absolutely extraordinary because the way the White House has published it, it makes it look as if it's Biden giving Trudeau an instruction to clear the bridge. I mean, that's how it reads. I'll read the words. The two leaders agreed that the actions of the individuals who are obstructing travel and commerce between our two countries are having significant direct impacts on citizens' lives and livelihoods. The president, which is to say Biden, expressed his concern that US companies and workers are experiencing serious effects, including slowdowns in production, shortened work hours, and plant closures. No, it's the president expresses his concerns, and then the response from Trudeau, the Prime Minister, that's Trudeau, promised quick action in enforcing the law, and the president thanked him for the steps he and other Canadian authorities are taking to restore the open passage of bridges to the United States. So the president expresses his concern. In other words, he tells Trudeau, clear the bridge, and the Prime Minister promises quick action. In other words, he promises to do so. Now, can I say something? I wonder how many people in Canada are aware of this readout, because it looks to me, from reading it, that the President of the United States is telling the Prime Minister of Canada what the Prime Minister of Canada should do to Canadian citizens on Canadian territory in order to clear a bridge, in order that, American economic interests are protected. Now, if I was a Canadian, my respect, whatever residual respect I might have for Trudeau, would have vanished at that point. I mean, what Trudeau should have said to the president is, look, we understand your concerns, but this is Canada. This is a Canadian problem. We're going to sort it out in accordance with our own procedures and our own laws. Instead, Trudeau comes along and he clicks his heels and salutes the commander-in-chief, who's Biden, and he says to Biden, well, please don't worry because I'm going to do all the things that you've told me to do. I'm going to clear the bridges. And sure enough, that was done. Now, if there's any doubt at all that this is not a prime minister for Canadians, read the readout.
Yeah, there's also a prime minister that obviously has no strategy going forward, no plan going forward as to how to deal with this, and he's taking his orders from a White House, from perhaps the most chaotic,
Yeah,
most incompetent White House there is. I mean, what does
absolutely.
that tell you? I mean, this is
Absolutely.
someone that's just unfit for the position of Prime Minister of Canada.
Absolutely, of course it is. I mean, again, we did that extraordinary program with Robert Barnes. You can watch it all on Rumble and Locals, and if you want to watch it on Rumble, go to you see there's a red maroon button at the top of the video. You can press it, and it will take you directly to our Locals page where you can see it all and see all sorts of other things on our Locals page. But over the course of that program, Robert Barnes said that this is the most chaotic administration anybody can remember, and that this is a president with, I mean, I'm taking his words, scrambling his words a bit, but a non-Midas touch. In other words, whereas King Midas, whenever he touched something, it turned to gold. When Biden touches something, it turns to dust. So that's the person you go to discuss what you're going to do and whose instructions you follow. I mean, it is astonishing, but it shows again, once more, that these people operate together in the same bubble. They talk to each other rather than to the people that they actually represent. Trudeau won't talk to the truckers. He won't talk to the truckers. He'll send the police to clear them out because Joe Biden tells him to. And that's what he's going to do. He talks to Biden. Biden tells him, clear the truckers off the bridge. He clears the truckers off the bridge. And he won't talk to them. He talks to the president with a non-Midas touch instead. I mean, is it surprising that there's a political crisis in Canada? Is it a surprise that his political authority is disintegrating? Is it surprising that you're seeing people along the roads with placards saying to the truckers, thank you, and we support you, and things like that? And in the United States also, is it surprising that people are organizing and preparing to do the same thing?
I mean, let that sink in. In order to sort out a domestic problem, the Prime Minister of Canada recruits the help of the Biden administration. I mean, when you say it you can't believe it.
No.
This is how crazy it is.
Absolutely. I know. Absolutely. I know. But that's where
It
we
leaves me
are.
speechless.
I mean,
Yeah. That's where we are.
If you want proof that we're dealing with a globalist cabal, well, there you have it. It's there in that an incompetent globalist cabal. Well, there you have it. You have it in that readout from the White House. The White House itself has published it. The president expresses concerns, and the prime minister promises. I mean, it's just, as I said, when I read it, it left me speechless again. And I mean, I have to say also that at least if you're going to, if this is the dynamic between the two of you, you're careful. You keep it quiet. You keep it careful. You choose your words to conceal that. You publish a readout. You don't even need to publish a readout. You can have a conversation. You don't need a readout. But you could, if you have to have a readout at all, you can just say something really bland. Well, the president or the prime minister talked about matters of mutual concern, including the protests that are happening in Canada. Something of that kind. Instead,
that's not what Biden White House wants.
As I said,
that's not what the Biden White House
Biden
wants.
White House wants. They want, instead of that, you get this readout, which, as I said, drops the mask in the most extraordinary way. Now, as I said, whether people in Canada are aware of this, I have absolutely no idea. But if I was a Canadian and I read that readout, I mean, my jaw would drop, and then I would be, seriously upset and perhaps even angry.
Yeah, the Biden White House wants to make it appear that Scranton Joe is taking charge. He's taking the lead in order to sort out any supply chain or border issues. And by
Yes.
taking charge, Scranton
Yes.
Joe is ordering around Trudeau as to
Yeah.
how he's going to go about fixing his problems. And Scranton Joe, of course, is going to be prepared for the U.S. Freedom Convoy as well. He's, he's on top of it. That's the
Absolutely.
image.
Absolutely.
Those are
He's
the
on top of
optics
it. He's on top of
that
it.
the White House, yeah.
Just he's on top of the inflation crisis, the supply chain crisis, all of these problems. He's on top of them. He's the man in charge. He knows how to solve all of these problems. He's solving them in the United States. He's solving them in Canada too. He's telling the Canadian Prime Minister how to do it, and the Canadian Prime Minister is willingly following the instructions, or should I say advice, that the president is giving.
The leadership.
The leadership.
The leadership of Biden.
Accept the leadership of Biden. The president with a non-Midas touch. I mean, it's...
The non-Midas president.
You couldn't make it up. I mean, it's astonishing.
Okay, so where do we go from here in Canada? Obviously, it's crystal clear that Trudeau does not have the capability, the strategy, the charisma, the smarts to deal with this. Nor does he want to, and I believe he's scared to, because he can't talk to these people, but he also probably realizes his own shortcomings. Where do we go from here? I mean, is there only option the default tyrannical authoritarian crackdown option now, because you just don't have smart people in you don't have a smart person in Trudeau or smart people in and around Trudeau in order to deal with the truckers as a sovereign nation? And I bring the word sovereignty now because Trudeau had to run to Biden in order to get advice. Where do we go from here?
Well, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think it seems to me that it's now a question whether there will be a crackdown, because that's clearly the direction of travel. I mean, that's absolutely obvious to me. I mean, that whether Trudeau's able to impose this crackdown, and if he tries, what the response from the Canadian people will be. Massively negative, I suspect. But how that will manifest itself, I don't know. Either that happens, or he steps down, because I can't really see any other way out of this. I mean, it has to be one or the other. If he orders a crackdown, and the crackdown backfires, more people come out and protest. Protests spread across Canada. They intensify. The police come back and say to the Prime Minister, "We can't really keep this under control," even though, as I said, people are acting in a completely peaceful way. As you rightly said, when they were dispersed from the bridge, there was no violence. There was nothing like that. But they don't have to have violence to come out and to make their presence felt. And of course, the police themselves, beyond a certain point, there's a limit to what they can realistically be expected to do. So either there's a crackdown. If it succeeds, Trudeau stumbles on, though I suspect his credibility with many Canadians is shot to pieces. If it fails, he must step down. The alternative, and the better alternative for Canada, is that his party tells him to step down now, because he's leading Canada off a cliff. And that's what he's doing.
Step down and snap elections, I would say. Maybe
Absolutely,
take it even one step further.
Absolutely. Step down.
Step down. Snap elections.
Snap elections. I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
All right. Let's leave it. Yeah. Let's leave it there. Everybody, if you're watching this from Rumble, look up top. You'll find a button to Locals. Click on that button. You get taken to our Locals community. Our Locals community has all kinds of great content from ourselves, from our community members. And it also has a lot of exclusive content as well. And there is the Good Day mug, 10% off when you use the code Good Day at our Duran shop. You'll find the link down below in the description box. Take care.